Okay, Mr. Lease from, let me see, AQR. And again, we're talking here about, let's see, this is a tutorial on making decisions stepwise and piecewise models. And in this case, we have let's see, this particular scenario. We're an electric company that's going ahead and selling electricity to people. So for the first 1,000 kilowatt hours, we're paying 11 cents per kilowatt hour. But after you go ahead and get to more than 1,000 kilowatt hours, you're paying 18 cents up to 1,500 kilowatt hours. That's all described in this thing right here, which is cheapest electricity in town. Let's just go ahead and say that. And if you reach more than 1,500 kilowatt hours, it goes up to 25 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, what does that mean? Well, when we get to 1,000, that doesn't mean that we now have to pay 18 cents for the first 1,000 kilowatt hours. Once we go ahead and pay for the first 1,000 kilowatt hours, we do not pay extra for them again. We don't pay another 7 cents on each kilowatt hour. Then for this right here, so in these cases, we only have 1,000 kilowatt hours that we're going to be paying for 11 cents per kilowatt hour. Then over here, since we're talking about from 1,000 to 500, that's going to be 500 kilowatts that we are actually going to be paying for 18 cents per kilowatt hour. Then finally, right here, anything more than 1,500, in other words, if we go from, let me see, 1,501. Let me see. Hold on. I don't know how to explain that one. Say, for instance, we have 1,501 kilowatt hours. That means first we have to subtract the first 1,500 kilowatt hours and get 1 kilowatt hour, and then you multiply by 0.25. So that's how this all works here. And so we're going to go ahead and do a couple of things. So first off, we're going to go ahead and populate this particular table. For the first seven, let's see. So right here, for the first 1,000 kilowatt hours, we're paying 11 cents per kilowatt hour. So we're going to use this to come up with a couple of formulas that will help us put this all together. So this is going to put together to make a piecewise function. So first off, we start with the first 1,000. Then we have the 800 kilowatt hours. So that's going to be $88, and of course 900. That's going to be 99. 1,000. That is something like that. Or wait a minute, I made a mistake. 0. So I just got to move the decimals. All right, so that's about it for that. Just a second. So what does this mean? How are we going to go ahead and write this? So we're going to go ahead and start with this. Basically, y is going to be for this one equal to 1,000. Wait, no, not x times. Well, actually, since we're using the proper things, 0.11 x, and that's basically what your function is going to look like for this. So if you have 1 kilowatt hour, it multiplies by 0.11, so you have 11 cents that you have to pay towards this company. But take a look what happens right here when you go beyond this. So now we have 1,100. So we've already paid $110 for the first 1,000 kilowatt hours because we've already paid that off. So that means that we have the first 1,000 kilowatt hours plus whatever we have else. So this is how I'm going to write this. It's actually easier to write this. So 110 minus 1,000, I should say 1,100 minus 1,000, times 0.18. Let me just make sure that that's the amount. 0.18, yes. So since we're making this next payment, we're going ahead and doing 1,000. Let's see, 1,100 minus 1,000. And that's going to be 100 kilowatt hours times 0.18. So that's $18 that we need to pay. Make sure, yes. So that's 18. And as you can see, they're doing this right here for this part of the example. And if you notice, they have this. This basically is representation of what we had right here. That should be 1,000 times there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on with this. So basically, this $110 is a constant now. It turns into a constant when you get to that point. Plus, plus, plus. Okay, 1,300 times. Okay, oh, sorry. 1,300 minus 1,000 times 0.18. So 1,400 minus 1,000 times 0.18. Then 1,500 minus 1,000 times 0.18. So let me just write down those numbers real quick. But you know what? That's not the really big point. 110 plus, let me see, 1,300 minus 1,000 times 0.18. So it's 73.80. At least I think that's it. Ooh, I did wrong. Sorry. Gotta do this correctly. I don't know why I'm messing up today. Please excuse me, class. I'm having brain farts left and right. First, I gotta put these in parentheses, multiply that by 0.18. There we go. That's why it looked kind of different for me. A little weird. So 164. Meh, that's much better. So 164. Next one. Just need to change this to 1,400. So 182. Or is it 184? Nope. And then, of course, you have your last one, which is 1,500 for this. Because that's the last time you're going to pay 18 cents a kilowatt hour. So this includes the first 110 and let me see, 500 kilowatt hours at 18 cents. See, that's $90. So you just add in the $90 onto that. Okay. Now, for the next one, well, let me just write down the function for this. Y equal to point, we got 110, that's our constant, plus, let me see, whatever x is, minus 1,000 times 0.18. And that is going to be our function. And, you know, we can take that 110, put it in the back because it is a constant. Now this 200 and it becomes our new constant. So we've done this for this part right here. Now we're doing it for the last part, and we can go up to infinity after a while. So we got the 200. Remember that we have 1,600. Instead of minus 1,000, since we paid for the first 1,500, and that's included in the 200 right here, this is 1,500 times 0.25. So now you're paying 25 cents a kilowatt hour. So 200 plus 1,600 minus 1,500 times 0.25. So it's $225. So you can just go on with this. This 200 now is a constant. You've already paid 200. So this is now 1,700, 1,800, 1,900. Once you start getting into the constants, you basically can put this all together fairly quickly. So all I need to do on this calculator is change that one little thing. So entry, this is going to go ahead and go to 17. That's now 250. Next one's going to be 275, I think. How would I know that? I don't know. How did I know that? Next one, last one. This is 19. 300. And so here's our function. Y equal to 200 plus x minus 1500 times 0.25. And there's my function. So I got these functions, and I'm going to be using this to go ahead and say this. From 0 to 1,000, we are paying 11 cents per minute. All right, well, x is greater than or equal to 0, and x is less than or equal to 1,000. So guess what? We're doing piecewise functions. These are the piecewise functions. Let me just write that down. Less than or equal to 1,000. All right, on the next one, x is greater than 1,000. X is less than or equal to 1,500. Then finally, x is greater than 1,500. And pretty much you can stop right there because that sky's the limit, because it goes on to infinity, and we don't need to go ahead and put an inequality for infinity. We just have that suggested right here. It's right there. Oh, do not use that as an equal to. There's a reason. I know in calculus you can do that, but right now I want you to get used to understanding why I want you to go ahead and leave it like that. All right, so this is the basics of how to fill in this chart. You will be answering these questions inside of class because you have all this nice fun stuff. This is actually the stuff that leads up to that, and this will help you understand a little bit more as to why. So we'll be doing that during class. These are very important questions to be able to answer, and you will have about 13 of them. So I hope you are taking notes, because if you do not take notes, this will be, kind of hard for you to understand later on. Remember, you can go ahead and rewind as much as you want, and you can go ahead and watch this as many times as you want. Please watch it many times because this makes me more popular on YouTube. Not really. No, just don't want to talk about that. All right. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys later.